We have a wonderful program for you, and most of you know that the history of this university was, it was founded as a teacher preparation institution in 1884. So for over 128 years, there have been thousands of graduates of this college. But there's only a few, less than 80, that have been named distinguished educators. So today we will add 5 names to the plaques that are in the Commons area, and we will pay special tribute to these 5 individuals for their work that they have done over the years. I have the pleasure of introducing an alumnus of this college, also an inductee of the Hall of Distinguished Educators in 2007, and he just so happens to be the president of Northwestern State University. So we're very pleased to have him here today, and he has a few remarks to provide.
Thank you, Dean Gentry, and thank all of you. Gosh, seems like only yesterday I was inducted. Seems like only yesterday I was in college. Some of these people. I do take personal pride in being a graduate in teacher education from Northwestern. My wife, Brenda, how are you? My wife, Brenda, is a graduate of the MA in Student Personnel through this particular college. And actually about 35 members of my family got degrees in teacher education here at the Normal or Northwestern. That includes both my parents. So this place is near and dear to us. I just love this particular area of the university. I frankly feel those of us who are graduates of this program are really to be that fortunate to know that we're unique. We're blessed, if you will, by the mark of the normal. What a wonderful thing to contemplate. Those whom we honor today have distinguished themselves professionally and have brought honor to the name of Northwestern. We truly are fortunate when you think about it. Dr. Gentry talked about the graduates of this program, but think about it as you travel around this state, or maybe if you travel into Colorado and places like that, but particularly in the state of Louisiana. There are a lot of us out there, for one thing, who graduated in teacher education, and on the other hand, there are a lot of people out there who maybe didn't attend school here, but who are related to people who did or were related to them. People who are friends of our graduates and students who were taught by our graduates. So we have had a tremendous influence on the state of Louisiana, and it's an honor to be a part of that. I want to be sure we recognize some people who are here today. I just saw Billy Montgomery walk in. Billy, good to see you, buddy. He's a graduate, big-time politician. Steve Horton is Associate Provost at the university and Dean of Graduate Studies and Research, and what else, Steve? We got a few other. I think he teaches about a 15-hour load on top of those things. His boss, Lisa Abney, is here. She's Provost and Vice President for Academic and Student Affairs. We do multiple jobs here. And I'm sure Dr. Gentry will introduce her folks. Jerry Pierce was here a while ago, Vice President for External Affairs, and
Walter Lee. Walter Lee.
I saw Walter. Walter Lee, Superintendent of Schools of DeSoto Parish. But what's the latest, most wonderful thing, Walter? They had an incredible record this year. We're so proud of you. And he's just an outstanding alumnus of Northwestern. We appreciate him so much. Bobby Alost is a graduate of the teacher education program, former beloved president here, and so glad to have you, Bobby. It's good to see you and Yvonne today. Last evening, by the way, we at the at the homecoming banquet, posthumously inducted into the long purple line two icons, I guess I should say educational icons, among the Northwestern family. Miss Mary Reeves Gillespie, who was a longtime educator and community servant in her hometown of Pelican, and a big-time benefactor, ultimately to the Northwestern State University Foundation and to the Louisiana Baptist Children's Home in Monroe, and Dr. George Walker Sr., longtime teacher, administrator. He held 2 deanships here at Northwestern and president, outstanding president of Northeast Louisiana University. Like us, they too were proud to be joint heirs with us to the legacy of the State Normal School, founded on these grounds in 1884. This Tuesday, it's hot off the press, just this Tuesday, the Board of Supervisors for the University of Louisiana System, on motion of our own Jimmy Long, approved our recommendation, and Dr. Gentry may tell you more about this, that we forever link the Gillespie family name to the college that made Northwestern famous. At an appropriate time and ceremony, we will officially change the name of this college to the Gillespie Family College of Education and Human Development. In gratitude. Thank you. This is the most transformational gift that this institution has ever seen. And she's one of us. She's a teacher education veteran. Teacher education at Normal or Northwestern was, is, and will be a citadel of learning for those who wish to shape the people of our state, region, and nation. So be it. Have a wonderful day.
You may have noticed that we have some distinguished students in our midst today. And I am very proud to say that 7 members of Northwestern's 2012 Homecoming Corps are students in the College of Education and Human Development. And a few of them are here today first, and I'm going to ask you to come down so that we can all recognize them. You get practice walking in front of the crowd. You'll have to do that later today. But our queen, this year's queen, is Afton Owens, who is majoring in English education, and Afton is from Homer, Louisiana. Isn't she beautiful? Also, Brittany Janice from Natchitoches. Brittany is majoring in health and exercise science. Did I say something wrong? No. You're not? Oh, well, I received false information. Where are you from? Ooh, way off. I am so sorry. Well, can we claim you as an active citizen? Just for today. I'm sorry about that mistake. Who can I blame? Okay, Jacob Carter. Jacob, I hope that you're from DeVille, Louisiana. And Jacob is majoring in health and exercise science. And Jake Bryan from Pollock, who is majoring in health and physical education. And Jacob is a member of the football team, so obviously he could not be here at this time. Tori Samford from Castor, Louisiana. Tori is majoring in elementary education. All right. And 2 other members of the Corps, Robin Wilder from Homer in early childhood education, and Kelly Louvier from Houma, Louisiana in social studies education. So they could not be here this morning because of other commitments. Thank you so much. We are so proud of you, and we look forward to your continued work in the college. Okay, every year at this time we also recognize our Teacher of the Year. So I'm proud to say that the Teacher of the Year for the College of Education and Human Development is Dr. Nelda Wellman. Dr. Wellman, you can come down. She has to walk the aisle also.
I just hope I don't fall.
Dr. Wellman was recognized at the Faculty Institute along with all the other Teachers of the Year for each college this past August. So today, again, it's tradition that we recognize this college's Teacher of the Year. Dr. Nelda and her husband, Wendell, you can raise your hand. That's all you get to do. They have been faculty members here for 5 years. Dr. Nelda teaches courses across multiple programs, including reading, curriculum and instruction, and educational leadership. She has authored and co-authored many articles in professional journals, including book chapters. She was the primary author for the Educational Leadership SPA Report, which now stands as a nationally recognized program by the Educational Leadership Constituents Council of MK. To be considered for this award, faculty must be designated as one of the top performers of the college. This ranking is determined from points that are earned in the areas of teaching, research, and service, and from the listing of the top performers for each department, then faculty vote on the recipient. So this year, as I said, Dr. Nelda was selected by faculty of this college for this award. Dr. Nelda's research interest is in the area of teacher-student relationships and how relationships impact student learning. And those of us who work with Dr. Wellman can attest to the fact that she is truly a model for learning. She maintains a positive and supportive relationship with her students and her colleagues and serves as an inspiration to all of us. Thank you so much for being such an exemplar teacher educator. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't recognize other faculty of this college who are very dedicated in their work. So at this time, if you're a faculty member, would you please stand and be recognized? Everybody turn around and give them a applause. The president of the College of Education Advisory Council is Mr. Jimmy Berry. And each year, Mr. Berry takes great pleasure in being here and talking about the work of the Advisory Council. His granddaughter is on the homecoming court at a high school in Lake Charles today, so he could not be with us. But in his place is Dr. Steve Horton, who's the Vice Provost of Academic Affairs, Dean of Graduate Studies, and a faculty member of this college, and he's going to talk briefly about the work of the Advisory Council and what they do to select inductees each year.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The Advisory Council is probably one of the hardest working groups that I've had the privilege of being a part of, because not only do we gather once a year to pick the recipients for the distinguished line of educators, we basically are at the disposal of Dean Gentry, and it seems like every time we turn around there's an in-Cape visit that comes along. And I can assure you that Dr. Gentry takes advantage of the skills that come from this Advisory Council. The skills, rather say the skills, let me tell you a little bit about the Advisory Council. It gets larger every year because every recipient from the Hall of Educators eventually joins the Advisory Council. So at any Advisory Council meeting that we have, you may have a different group in the room, so the dynamic changes annually. But one of the biggest things we do take responsibility for is the all-call for nominations for the Hall of Distinguished Educators. And this year we had 27 nominees that came from you, the graduates of all of the programs in teacher education, from the very beginning to right now. It's not something where you can just submit somebody's name and say, I'd like to see this person considered. You have to submit the documentation to show why that person should be considered. So it's a process by which we gather, we read all of the material, we talk about each of the candidates. A lot of us know the candidates. Some from the past, we have to rely on what people say that they knew this person for what this person did. But this year we did select 5 extraordinary people, but they're not always going to be your administrators. They're going to be the ones who stayed in that classroom. They're going to be the ones that endured statewide testing for all of those years. They're going to be the ones who called education their career and made others enjoy that same career as educators. So in the past, we've enjoyed 64 inductions, starting back in the year 2000. So we're in the 12th year. When Mr. Berry couldn't do the presentation today, I was actually excited to be asked to do it because this is a unique year for me. I can say that of the 5, Dr. McCullough was my first principal. She hired me back 26 years ago to teach at Captain Street High School. And Susan Taylor, around the same time, hired my wife Em as a first-year teacher at Coshada Elementary School. And then there's Kathy Seymour, who's like a sister to me. And she's retired now. But what I'm most appreciative of her is that she left as an administrator and is now back teaching reading teachers how to teach reading across the country. And that's exactly what I want to do in my retirement. And I'm on the back end of my career, believe it or not, Dr. McCall, I'm in 26. So I know that my time is coming where I've got to make a decision, but what I want to do when my time is coming to an end, and I know it's coming to an end, I'm going to go back and teach again. And that's the thing I look forward to. And so all 5 of these are testaments to what we all have become as teacher educators and what people behind us can become by the models that they set forward for us. So congratulations to the 5 of you on behalf of the Advisory Council, and we look forward to having you now join us as we select the next year's recipients. Thank you.
Okay, the moment has arrived, so we're ready to begin the celebration and the inductee. So, Dr. Park. Sure.
Northwestern State University's College of Education and Human Development is proud to induct 5 alumni into its Hall of Distinguished Educators during this year's homecoming celebration. Honorees must have graduated from Northwestern State's College of Education at least 30 years prior to nomination. This year's distinguished educators are Dr. Seal Chavez of Littleton, Colorado, Dr. James Haley of Bossier City, Dr. Sandra McCullough of Shreveport, Dr. Kathy Seymour of Natchitoches, and Susan Taylor of Coshada. Chavez earned a degree in social science and mathematics at Northwestern State in 1963, a master's degree in educational administration at the University of New Orleans in 1967, and a doctorate in curriculum and instruction from the University of Northern Colorado in 1980. She began her career as a teacher in Orleans Parish. Prior to beginning her own consulting business, she was a teacher and administrator at the middle, high school, and university level. During her career, she served as superintendent of Littleton Public Schools, director of the North Central Accreditation for Colorado, and assistant dean of the University of Colorado's College of Education, among other education enterprises. Chavez has lived in Colorado for more than 40 years. She served in leadership positions in numerous community organizations and earned the Phi Delta Kappa Leadership Award twice. She was named one of the top 100 educators in the United States and was a finalist for the Colorado Superintendent of the Year. She also authored a book, Spirit Moves, Attributes for Transforming Leadership. Chavez has 3 children and 2 grandchildren.
So much. You are welcome. And this is a copy. Each one of you will have a copy of the video that was played today.
Thank you very much.
Anyone pictures?
Goodness. This is a very special time returning to Northwestern and seeing so many leaders here at the university that were my colleagues when we went to school together, or at least with one of my siblings. Thank you, President Webb, Dean Gentry, Barb Bouchard, faculty and staff. So many of you are here today. That's very special. And the College of Education and Human Development. I'm deeply moved and appreciative of this honor, and to my fellow inductees, I say congratulations. I indeed am among great folks here. My mother and daddy graduated from Northwestern. They met here. Dad graduated from Northwestern and ultimately taught in the School of Business. I miss them still. And it's moments like this that I trust that they know their expectations of an investment in me made a profound difference. I always ask myself, what has heart and meaning in life? Being here certainly does, especially because this honor has been a catalyst for a reunion with my siblings, all of whom attended Northwestern. I am very proud to introduce my sister, Pat McGraw. Pat, raise your hand, please. Pat McGraw, and her daughter, Susan, and husband, Ryan Chappell. My sister, Elizabeth Bowen, Liz. My brother, Roy, and his wife, Bonnie. Brother John and his wife, Rose. And my dearest friend, Dr. Mary Jarvis. My 3 grown children, 45, 44, and 41, could not be here today, and their mother sincerely hopes they're working on their distinguished careers. I am humbled by the designation of Distinguished Educator and want to accept it on behalf of the larger community of distinguished educators that touch the lives of youth and indeed shape their very lives. I think you would agree with me that there are not enough halls nor walls big enough to hold all distinguished educators, and that's just from Northwestern State University. So I feel humbled by this recognition. My career has always been enriched by wonderful role models, beginning with the professors I had right here at NSU. How could I ever forget Dr. Yvonne Phillips, chair of the Department of Social Studies, or Dr. George Miller, professor of mathematics, or Aura Williams, professor of English. They, along with my cooperating teacher in interdisciplinary studies, Mrs. Fowler, made a profound impact upon the development of me as an educator. They modeled for me a passion for the subject matter and what quality pedagogy really looks like. Perhaps it was during my time as a student that I came to know and understand that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Thank you very much for caring about our legacies as educators. Thank you very much.
Haley earned a bachelor's degree in health and physical education and social studies at Northwestern State in 1959, a master's in education in 1964, and a doctor of education degree in 1976. After working as a teacher and coach for several years, he moved into administration as a principal, assistant superintendent, and superintendent in Beauregard Parish before joining Northwestern State University's administration as vice president for university affairs. Haley has been affiliated with numerous professional associations, serving as president of the Southwest Superintendents Association and the Louisiana Superintendents Association, the executive committee for the Louisiana High School Athletic Association, and the Governor's Advisory Council for Drug-Free Schools and Communities. Haley said hearing from former students and how he made a positive impact on them is one of the most rewarding aspects of his long career. Retired since 1995, he currently does consulting and inspection work. He's been married to Marilyn J. Haley for 32 years, and they have 4 children and 7 grandchildren.
Old age. I'm deeply honored to be here today with you and accept this award. I would like to say this, though, that I would like to repeat a statement that a famous man made a few weeks ago. They kind of wish he hadn't have said it. I didn't build this myself. I have so many people to thank, to give my thanks to them for me being here today. It's been such a long time ago, 1954. I'm going to embarrass my wife, but I was English 101 under Dr. Dunnigan. The first assignment he gave us was to write a paper on some famous person. And since I graduated from Belmont High School with a major in basketball and a minor in basketball, I wrote a paper on Bob Cousy. I thought I did a great job. It was 10 pages long. I got my paper back and 9 of the pages had no marks at all. The first page had big red letters, "You should be in the first grade." I thought I was going to go back to Belmont and raise chickens. But thank goodness I got through those years with the help of a lady by Ms. Orr Williams. She was such a gracious, sweet lady. And then in graduate school, I owe everything to a guy by the name of, he's no longer with us, Dr. Alan Bonnet. He's one of the finest people that ever walked these halls. And I would like to accept this award today on behalf of those people, a group of boys from DeRidder High School that brought me home 2 state championship basketball trophies, the teachers and the administrators of Beauregard Parish, who worked so hard to become one of the best school systems in the state. And I won't embarrass him, but there's a guy here today that has worked by my side from 1965 to the day I retired. We were together every day, and he should be here accepting this award with me. And that's Mr. Fred Fulton. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and may God bless you as He blessed me for 75 years.
McCalla earned a bachelor's degree in mathematics at Northwestern State in 1960. She earned a master's in instruction and curriculum in mathematics with computer science in 1968 and a doctor of education in education leadership at Texas A&M University in 1987. She was a teacher and principal in Caddo Parish for 28 years before joining the faculty at Northwestern State as a professor and director of the Division of Education. She returned to Caddo Parish as principal and has served as principal at Captain Shreve High School since 1994. She also works as an adjunct instructor for Louisiana State University, Shreveport. McCalla said accepting the Blue Ribbon School Award on behalf of Captain Shreve High School from the President of the United States at the White House was among her most memorable experiences in education. McCalla has earned several honors during her career, including Caddo Parish Principal of the Year and Teacher of the Year, Louisiana High School Principal of the Year, Louisiana Principal of the Year, Louisiana Student Councils, and the National PTA Life Service Award. McCalla has been selected to numerous leadership activities, authored several publications on student leadership, and made numerous presentations on education leadership.
Then Dr. Sandra McCalla.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Vicki. And so good to see some great demons here. I was in the class of '61, and my mother and aunts before me were demons and graduated here. And they were models of teachers. There was never a doubt about I only knew there was one college. You know, I grew up knowing I was coming to Northwestern, and I grew up knowing I was going to be a teacher. You know, that was just in the DNA, and I had a lot of college education at the supper table, or helping my aunts and mother cut out things for their classes on it, and going to their classes, and it's in my DNA from the very beginning. Northwestern took me in that first freshman year. You know, I've heard about people getting homesick, getting back home. You know, I went home for the first time at Thanksgiving, and that was only because they closed the university. I absolutely loved it. Now, my parents would come to see me. You know, living in Shreveport, that wasn't really a big deal, but it was a very special place. I was reminding a friend of mine earlier, there were 8 of us that came from Fair Park that were very close friends, and they put us in Cron de Lake, 4 to a room side by side for 1 semester. The Dean of the College of Education, the Dean of Women, called us in at the end of the first semester and said, no more than 2 of you can ever live together again. Now, you know, we weren't bad, but we did have a good time. Trying to one-up each other on our pranks that were all never malicious, I must say. But we did have a good time. The house mother loved us, so we really couldn't understand why they split us up. But good thing. I remember being a freshman, and in my second education course, this professor will remain nameless. But I thought, this is the most boring course. I need to rethink where I'm going here. You know, this is awful. And so I did what I'm sure none of you ever did. I cut a class. And I thought, you know, I'd taken the test, made a pretty good grade on it, and the test came right out of the chapter. So I thought, well, I can read the chapter. I don't have to go and sit through that. Well, back in my day and time, you know, and this might increase, if we went back to it, the graduation cohort rate, which is really important in measuring colleges now. I got a telephone call in the dorm one day, not on my cell phone. And so out in the hall I went, and it was Dr. Church. Now, math, you know, she was my advisor, and I was a math major, and she was in the math department, and she said, Miss McCullough, are you well? I said, yes, ma'am. It hadn't occurred to me why she's calling. She said, you missed class yesterday. I need you to come to see me. I mean, I never missed another class. The regimen she put me on, which was to come see her after that class, every time we had a class, and kind of give me some feedback and tell her what, you know, I could do to contribute to that class that would make it more interesting, because, you know, I just told her it was boring, that's why I didn't go. But I learned some tact out of that, and you know, she followed me all the way through my 4 years, and what a blessing that was, put me, you know, back on the straight. Took the place of my parents, I guess, which was important for somebody like me. Went on to the University of Northern Colorado in a little different class, about 68, and so, you know, we have that bond with Dr. Chavez, and what a great place that was to be. I went there because it was cheaper to go there than I never could afford it Columbia University, and they brought in the faculty from there in the summers, and Stan Powell, what a great educator, comes through. He's in this distinguished hall, and he called me into the office one day. He said, it's time for you to start working on your master's. You need to fill out this application. It was to Colorado State College then. I did it. I thought I had to. The principal said, you're going to do this. So I did. Later on to Texas A&M, but, you know, I've always attributed those days, the value of the education that I got at Northwestern, the nurturing that I got here, to be so important. Always a demon. And then, you know, I had been principal at Captain Shreve for 12 years, and Stanley Powell brought a man to a ceremony that I knew of because of the reputation of Northwestern. Then had been the dean of the College of Education, and he started talking about me and Northwestern again. By then he was president of the university, and we talked about it for about 18 months. I absolutely wasn't coming back. And he said, you owe it. to Northwestern. I mean, what a guilt trip. Then something happened in the parish where I thought, you know, it's never going to be the elephants that get me, it's the gnats. And a gnat got me one time, and he came back by one day and was visiting, having coffee, and he said, now, I've got a parking place and a desk for you. I said, I'll take it. And what a great 6 years that. I promised him 3, loved it so much, stayed 6, and what a wonderful community it's been. The ties I've made here, renewed here, just enriched my life. So thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. G.
Thank you.
Seymour earned a bachelor's degree in social studies and journalism education at Northwestern State in 1974, a master's degree in secondary reading in 1976, and a doctoral degree in elementary education and administration in 1981. She began her career in classrooms in Natchitoches Parish before moving to Centenary College to direct the English Language Center and later served as an assistant principal in Caddo Parish. She joined the faculty at Northwestern State's College of Education in 1999 and Director of Clinical Experience and Associate Dean until her retirement in 2007. She's currently an education consultant for Pearson Publishing and JBHM Education Group. Seymour is a member of Phi Kappa Phi, Kappa Delta Pi, and numerous other professional organizations related to education, accreditation, and professional development. Seymour said many of her most memorable teaching experiences occurred while working with students in alternative school environments and watching pre-service teachers evolve from students to competent educators. She's been married for 42 years to Dr. Dan Seymour. The couple has 2 children and are expecting their first grandchild.
And before she speaks, I just have to say that this Hall of Distinguished Educators is here for 13 years because of the initial groundwork that she did. She got it all started.
I have to tell you that I never expected to be on that wall, and when I think about that wall, I think about the fact that Darwood Duke and I started in 2000 trying to figure out how to put flat plaques on a curved brick wall with liquid nails and duct tape. And I'm glad to see that those first plaques that we put on the wall are still there. Thank you very much, Vicki, and the other folks in the College of Education, and thank you to that group of people up there. My family, my friends, and what I like to say are the people that I have chosen as family. I can't believe I'm getting emotional. That's not me, of all people. Northwestern has been, both as an institution and as a location, very, very special to me. First of all, my parents met here, and I'm very grateful for that, back in the 1940s, and then the very food on my table and the clothes on my back were courtesy of Northwestern because my dad worked here. My mother and dad were both educated here through several different degrees and so forth, and then Daddy came back to work at Northwestern with Dr. Arnold Kilpatrick, and the Kilpatricks were very special to me my whole life. They're greatly missed. I tried to go somewhere else to school. I wasn't like Sandra. My daddy wouldn't let me. I graduated in 1970 and tried to go to Louisiana Tech, and Daddy he wouldn't even discuss it with me. He just said no. And and that was in the days when your daddy said no, that was kind of it. But I'm really grateful for that because as I came to Northwestern as a student, I could legally go to the student union and eat chicken fried steaks and stuffed baked potatoes courtesy of the Lucky McCain Student Union. If you're of that era, that you'll know that was an important thing. The other thing is that I lived in Caddo Hall with who was my best friend then and is my best friend now. and she and her family are here today with me. It began my long relationship with my beloved FAMU, and I met my very best friend and the love of my life, who asked me to marry him down on Chaplain's Lake. So I'm glad about that. My children have attended Northwestern laboratory schools before we moved to Shreveport, when James finished at Loyola, and it has been a part of my life for all of my life, and I guess even before my life began, because Annie and Hoyt were here. I like to think that my parents are proud of what I've become, and the legacy. I can hardly believe that I'm as old as I am. I don't feel almost 60. I'm lots younger than Christy. I don't feel old on the inside, except when I try to do a lot of walking around, perhaps. But I have learned through students that I've always learned more from than I ever taught, that there is absolutely nothing more important than teaching. I retired here after having lived through a couple of NCATE accreditation visits and redoing every major in the College of Education. I mean, I think that somebody ought to give us all something for having lived through that, don't you agree? But I'd always been in Louisiana. I had always known about Louisiana education and worked with the Department of Ed. Susan and I worked with the Department of Education for a number of years, had a great time traveling the state and working in schools all over. But Steve alluded to the fact that since I have retired from here, I have been working throughout the United States as an educational consultant. And one of the things that I have said to myself is I have left schools in the bowels of the state of Washington, or in Michigan, or in Maine, or in that place that is perfect if you don't know, but New York City. I got a wonderful foundation for what I believe and what I learned here. I think about Dr. Mildred Bailey, who was, I could get madder at than almost anybody. And if those of you that knew her know that that was something that she could do, was make you very angry. But I loved her enough to make her godmother of both of my children. And I look around here and I see people like, well, I can't see Dr. Bearden, he's not here anymore, but I think about Dan Carr, and I think about Raymond Gilbert, and I think about Bobby Allos, and I think about Bob Palmatier, and so many people who had so much to do with me being who I am and knowing the things that I now know and can share with people everywhere. I'm really happy that I had an opportunity to be with the people that I was able to be with over my 33 years in education, and am very, very grateful for the foundation that I got at this institution. I'd like to thank everybody that's here. Thank you all very much for coming and being here, and I'd like to think that my daddy's proud of me today. Forgive me.
Taylor earned her bachelor's degree in elementary education in 1974, master's in education and reading in 1978, and plus 30 in 1980. She began her career in the elementary classroom before moving into administration in Red River and Natchitoches parishes, serving as principal of Coshada Elementary, the NSU Elementary Lab School, and Riverdale Academy. She's currently school improvement specialist / principal mentor for JBHM Education Group. Taylor cited her years of working with and mentoring new teachers and designing and implementing successful practices as among the most rewarding of her career. Taylor has been recognized as Woman of the Year, Principal of the Year and Teacher of the Year for Red River Parish and was Student Teacher of the Year at Northwestern State. She's a member of Delta Kappa Gamma Honor Society for Women Educators. Taylor has been married to Joe F. Taylor for 47 years, and the couple has 2 daughters and 4 grandchildren. Both of their daughters earned degrees in education at Northwestern State. State.
Well, I have to tell y'all that about 20 minutes before we came over here, we have our motorhome down at the lot. And my husband said, I think you're probably going to have to say something. And I was like, oh, I can't do that. But anyway, I'm here. And Kathy was always the one when we worked together that she never was emotional. Now, Kathy, I was the one that was emotional. I'm even taking pills to keep from it. And she wanted to go to Tech. There was no question about it. I was going to Tech. My 3 older sisters are back there on the back wave. They all graduated from Tech. I was supposed to go to Tech. I went to Tech 2 years. But I wanted to be married to Joe Taylor more than I wanted to go to Tech. And he graduated from Northwestern, and we got married. So been a long time married to him, and we have 2 wonderful daughters and 4 grandchildren that are just the love of my life. Taylor is a senior this year at Northwestern. Caitlin is a junior at Centenary. Ethan is a freshman at Louisiana College. And Tanner is a sophomore at Riverdale Academy. And y'all all raise your hand. My best friend in the whole world is here, Sia Norman, and 2 other teachers that were with me in those early years. And they were like backbones for me. Everybody has thanked the ones that I would want to thank, and I thought, well, I was going to get by with being able to say one teacher here at Northwestern, and of course, Kathy said her, Dr. Bailey. She was just my mentor. Just loved her. My favorite children's book is Charlotte's Web. And I feel like Wilbur. Okay? Today, and Charlotte should be up in that corner saying humble, because I'm so humble and just appreciate this so much. Everybody's a doctor. I'm Susan Taylor. But I love my career. I love being principal and love those children. And in fact, I've told my girls, when I die, be sure I'm buried, because my husband is so scheduled that if he has something going on, he won't get me buried. I'm buried. And be sure that on my tombstone it says, she loved children.
Well, what a wonderful day this has been. And I would be remiss, everybody's crying. I would be remiss if I did not say a special thanks to a couple of people who did all the behind-the-scene work. Dr. Barb Ducart, is she here? I know she's out. Dr. Ducart is the go-to person, so she answers all of your questions and phone calls, and I know that you had a lot of you probably felt like you were bugging her at times, but she just has such a wonderful disposition, and she's a great person to be in charge of this event. So thank you. We really appreciate your work. And Ms. Connie Nelder, who not only is the very best director of field experiences and clinical preparation in the state of Louisiana, but she is also the fashion queen. So she was in charge of transforming the building, and with the fall theme, and getting all of our mums and everything ready. And so say special thanks to her because she did a lot of the decorating and the food preparation. So we thank you, Ms. Miller. I hope you have plans to hang around for the day. The tailgating is this afternoon. And if you're able to, at the beginning of the football game, you will be recognized. You'll walk out on the field. I know some of you have other commitments and won't be able to do that. But your name will be called regardless. And then, of course, the kickoff is at 6 o'clock. So you're welcome to hang around and visit a little bit more. Thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. We hope to see you next year. Yay.